Good afternoon, tubers. I forgot what day it is today. I think it's August 7th? Yeah, August 7th. It's actually past Adam's birthday. I think his is on the 2nd. He'll correct me later, but Adam turned 32? 33? 40? Anyways, it's Adam's birthday, and he's not here right now. I actually been taking him to work the last couple of days as sort of a little treat. You know, doesn't have to worry about gas for a couple of days. Lincoln's is a bit thirsty, and guy needs a break, so I've been taking him to work. I got nothing better going on. Been kind of picking at the truck, washed it a little while ago, and spent a couple hours yesterday polishing the wheels. These insides were driving me nuts. In fact, I need to wipe them out again. I didn't get them very good. But these wheels have had these white spots since I got them. And I think these were supposed... They weren't really well polished when I got them. And wasn't too happy on the finish. But I spent some time yesterday with some mag and aluminum wheel polish, and did the best I could. These ones are probably the worst. These used to be up front and they weren't polished, and then a lot of brake dust and stuff collected on here, and I got a lot of these like little pits and stuff. So this one I'm probably gonna take off at some point. I gotta get a couple of different means of polishing, some better means, and get the wheels off and really get in there and hit them pretty good. And I'll show you what I used to polish them with. I just bought this because it was on a whim and I wanted to just get something done. I bought Mother's. It did alright, but it on the back two wheels that used to be up front, that stuff's just not cutting it. I've just been using a polishing wheel, but I may have to get in here with maybe like sand it down or something. I saw someone online he was polished up some Alcoas and they looked like they were chrome finished. It was so, the guy did such a good job. But these I kind of want to just try and get away with. You know, I really want that finish. If I can get away with just using what I've been using here, this is what I used. And then I used my rigid drill. And you know, it did alright. But the back wheels need a little bit more work, so I might try it again later and hit it with that wheel again, wash it out. But anyways, this truck needs some front end service. What I'd like to do is, I greased all the joints up not too long ago, but ever since I put this axle in, I've never checked the front wheel bearings as far as, you know, how they're doing with grease and stuff. So I actually want to get this front end on jack stands and just do some checks real quick on like steering links and stuff, which I think are pretty good. It's been steering pretty nice. Those new track bar bushings have been working excellent, and it's been really pleasant to drive. And real no play in the steering, just a little tiny bit, and that's about it. But yeah, I want to get into taking these wheels off. I might actually try polishing the center parts up a little bit since I have it off. I'm going to get the wheels off and we'll get into the stuff. We'll check the brakes out and get those hubs off, and we'll repack the bearings. Every once in a while I'll come in here and just check the play and make sure the wheels aren't wobbling around. I'm turning the steering wheel a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna polish the insides of these wheels anyways. And what I really hate, I like to have the center caps for decoration purposes, but I mean, this is just junk. have to get new ones of those. If you ever have an excessive amount of play in these things, just adjusting it, it's not really going to do much for you. But in this case, if I ever get like a tiny bit of play, I'm usually able to take that play out by just adjusting these. Right now they seem pretty good, but I want to check to see what the grease looks like, because I actually want to make sure this gets lubed up decently. I got a little tub here. I'm going to be putting my parts in. It'll keep dirt from getting in there. I feel like somebody I watch on YouTube is just doing this. Although I'm not replacing my bearings, I'm just servicing them, because it's been about 2 years since I put this axle in here. And this axle got new hubs, new bearings, outer seals and stuff. I didn't do the inner seals because when I had this apart, those were actually still pretty good, and I haven't had any problems yet, so just leaving it be for right now. Tappy tap tap. You guys like how my tools are usually put away and I'm able to walk away for a second and go find them? Oh, they're just on the O-ring there. Got it. Okay, now we're going to take a couple of screws here, go straight across, and it should come out just like that. And hopefully not broken. Wanted to start with that first, just to make sure that comes on, because sometimes this nut can be a real butt to get off. Nice. Used to look brand new. Oh, I need my little chisel. Okay, we got some crustiness there. We'll wire wheel all that and put her back on. There we go. Just a little bit is all we needed. The pads aren't getting heat warped, that's good. Let's set that aside. Put our caliper up here, that's perfect. Nice, yeah, these aren't heat warped at all, that's good. Or heat cracked, I should say. Look like they're wearing pretty evenly. So that's good, I don't have to mess with those. The only thing I don't like about them is they're freaking dusty as hell. This has the newer style TTB ratcheting spindle nut, which is nice because you just torque it down, and then once it starts ratcheting, it's gonna be very hard for this thing to come apart. They don't fit the Dana44 straight axle right away, so you have to notch the, I'll show you in a second here, but there's a thing that you have to notch. This pin right, there's a little notch thing right here. You just gotta grind it back a little bit. It's hard to show you, but you just grind it back a little bit and you'll be installing it. Or not. Still want to knock the seal off. The fact that it was sucked on there pretty good is a very good sign. Drop this on the ground. Take our bearing here. We're just gonna wipe it off here. Looks pretty damn good for, see, what do I got on this thing? I put the axle in 2016, I think it was. Yeah, put this in 2016, end of 2016. And for the last, I think the last 6 months, she's been running on 35s with a 4BT under the hood, and this is what her bearings look like. Occasionally people ask me, you know, hey, can the Dana44 handle a 4BT? And it's like, there's your answer. I mean, these are pretty big bearings. These can handle up to 38s, 37s or 38s, and I think that's about your max. I think what I might actually do, instead of disturbing this back here, yeah, there's a lot of grease in there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get my tub of grease, and we're going to fill this. That cavity doesn't have much grease in there. It needs to have a lot of grease in there so that if the grease is going to get hot and move somewhere, it's going to get into the bearings, not just stick in that chamber. So I got a lot of grease. We're going to use this up. This is what I've run on my wheel bearings. Explore, this. Anything where I have to actually service the bearings manually, or I'm installing bearings on any vehicle. Like, it doesn't have to be a Ford, you know, this stuff is good enough for anything else. It's just metal, right? So this is where we're gonna get messy. We could wear gloves, but we don't have any. So we're gonna be like men and just get in here and do it. Plus this turns some women on when you just get your hands nice and filthy. I'm gonna try 2 fingers this time. Nice. Okay. We actually want to get some grease on our palms, but I'm just gonna do it this way. Still don't have a bearing packer. But if you have it on your palm and you actually scoop it up like that, it fills it up. Oh yeah, see how it's starting to ooze out to the top there? That's perfect. Okay, we got a real mess going on here. I try not to get a whole lot of grease on that inside of the bearing, because what happens is, if this is lubricated, it's going to make it easier to spin on the surface that it's riding on. So I did this to make it fit, and you can see where I ground it down. I took a little file and just notched this ever so slightly, and it made it where it would fit on that 78 spindle. And these were dry when I installed them. You see that grease, when it gets hot, it kind of liquefies a little bit and it gets everywhere. So that's good. So I start getting it going here. I let the grease settle. You can hear the air pockets kind of popping. Spins really nice. And, don't have a whole lot of played yet. So this is the driver's side, and had a little accident. This bearing popped out and hit the ground, but it seems to be all right. Yeah, I've got a lot of miles on it, a lot of road trips. Yeah, do a lot of driving. And these things are it's just barely broken in. Not even broken in yet. Yeah, I mean, even the race looks like it's right out of the frickin' package. So, okay. Alrighty. Got everything put back together, tightened down, service the brakes, all that. Where is it? Right here. All this backing stuff was coming off and hanging down, so I just took it out. So yeah, cleaned it. Did a little bit of cleaning just to wipe stuff off, and everything's good. I was checking bolts and stuff under here. I was hearing a popping noise when I'd back up, and there was a small bolt that was loose, and it was loose just enough to where when you put it in reverse and back up, give it a little bit, you torque it a little bit, the cross member would lift up a tiny bit and it would catch on one of the threads and it would pop. So I think that was it. That was the only loose bolt that I found, so I snugged that up. Just checking out my rear. I was poking around my rear end here. Now these shocks are getting a little nasty. I don't know if you can tell. There's some pitting and rust on the rod in there, so I'll end up getting a new set. These are Skyjacker 7000 hydro shocks, and they seem to work pretty good. They've been on there since this thing was two-wheel drive. And then I've got Skyjacker 8000s up front, and man, I love those shocks. Those are really nice. But I think at some point we're going to end up ditching the coil spring and that dual shock setup. We're going to go to a coilover with a reservoir setup, and then I'm going to redo the track bar upper mount, and then what I'm going to get into is really getting this to where it can articulate, but also be not a pile of crap when you're trying to get around town or something. And then the back end, I've talked about this before, but the back end eventually needs to get swapped over to four-wheel drive leaf springs. So, but for right now, you know what? It works great. Yeah, I want to get this wheel put back on and get cleaned up. And I gotta go pick Adam up from work a little bit later. Who's the gibbon monkey that put this on? Come on, get on there. Still need to make my custom diff cover for this thing. We're a little low, I would say. I've noticed it was actually starting to leak right around here. See how this is wet? So I may have to take this axle out sometime and... Oh yeah, we got oil. Looks really good. Yep, smells like gear oil. May take this axle out and actually have someone rework that, just so that I don't have any problems. I really don't want it leaking, and may even have them do make it truss it a little bit. Not that I do any hardcore wheeling or anything, but it'd be nice to have anyways. No play. Nice and tight. Swing. And don't need to do it now, but later I'm gonna have to. See that U-joint right there? Well, she's got a little problem. On, I think it's the end that goes into the drive shaft is loose. So we're gonna have to replace that one. Like, the thing can go up and down. So not good. I'll have to get some spicers for this end and for the other. So that'll be coming up. Yeah, she's looking pretty good. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be getting fluids and supplies to change. I gotta change the oil out in the engine. We're gonna change the transmission fluid, transfer case fluid, and then I'm gonna show you guys how to change the gear oil in Ford 9-inch. I have a way of doing it that's fairly easy. Can be a little tricky, but it's easy for me. You don't even have to pull the wheels off or nothing. You just, well, you'll see. You'll see. But yeah, I think she's looking pretty good for what it is. I'm still missing a bolt. I'm gonna get new bolts for the bumper. And if I can find those post thingies, I'll put those back on. As far as the bed liner project, since Adam works at Napa, I'm going to be having them mix up bed liner with the color that I want, which is this color. And so instead of just doing the black and then painting over it, we're gonna do the whole thing in one shot. So I know, despite this right here, which I really want to take care of, I think we're just gonna leave it. And then we'll just tape along this body line here. And just come up this way. Just do that. And this is what happens. Tape that off. And then peel it. So I think that's what we'll do for that. Yeah. Alright, well, I'm gonna go take a shower, get some food, and then gonna go get Adam.